Hello, everybody. Welcome back in. It is that SEC Football Powers Hour. I am Randy. That is Show. We are here to give you our picks for all the SEC games this week and a few from around the country that we think are kind of interesting. Joe, we're almost through another week. Had a crazy one last weekend. How are you doing, buddy?
I don't even know, man. I lost count. I don't have any idea how I'm doing, but outside of that, I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It could always be worse. Is that what you're
yeah.
saying? Yeah.
All things considered,
Yeah.
all
Well,
good.
we're here. We're here. We're breathing, making the YouTubes. So something's working for us so far. I see we've already got some people here in the chat with us tonight. This makes me smile. This one right here makes me kind of happy. Let's put it on the screen. The ICAM man, he's up from our neck of the woods, Joe. He's up from Northeast Georgia there. I'm not exactly sure where. He doesn't have to divulge that, but he's up our way where we grew up. And he's in here letting us know, man, he finally got his notification. That's a big deal. I'm glad it's working for you. That's awesome. It's supposed to work that way. I'm glad it's going. And then this one, I laughed out loud when I saw this one. Our buddy Herb is in here. I'm not sure if Raj is in here with him, but from the Herb and Raj podcast, Herb is back. He cannot he's waiting with bated breath to see how Joe treats his Crimson Tide this week. So we're looking forward to that one. And as always, we're gonna get into this thing. We're gonna pick all these games and stuff. But before we do that, just like we always do, we're gonna take a quick second and look back to last week. And so is there anything that jumped out to you from what you saw last week, in the games around the SEC or nationally?
I don't know. Did people play football last weekend? I mean, I have no idea, really.
Well,
I have no idea. You guys ever have one of those weeks where you're like, I don't know what happened this week. I don't know where I am. I don't know what my name is. And I'm not sure if I robbed anybody. It's kind of like the movie Hungover, if you've ever seen that, or Hungover 2 or 3, however many of those they make, where you just go, you wake up and you got like this Mike Tyson tattoo on your face. That's been Show's week. So I hope I do speak for all of you. I have no idea. So I hope it was a good week of football. I think Georgia won. I know Taylor Swift was at a game. I don't know. That's all I know. So let's roll and pick some games.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure I don't need to know what happened last week, and I don't need to know what's probably going to happen this weekend either.
See, I've left this comment on the screen for a minute here. Joe speaks for us all. We have no idea. So yeah. I think Joe's little diatribe right there. He's just being real with y'all. He's not pulling any punches. Joe's telling you, Joe's a busy man. He's got a lot of stuff going on. So he's telling you the truth. So,
all I can tell you is that I know I traveled the state. I don't know where I was, and I don't know how I got back here. So here we are. Let's pick them.
All right. Well, I mean, you're right. Georgia did go on the road last week and beat Auburn, so I'm proud about that. That was
wait.
Yeah.
I hope my boys Rob and Ben are watching.
They better be.
The one thing that I did recall, Bowling Green beat Georgia Tech.
That's right.
Did y'all see that catch? End zone?
I didn't see the catch. No, there was some crazy catch or something.
Man, those glove manufacturers should be outlawed. That dude caught a ball that he should have never caught because those gloves are way too sticky.
Didn't Pearsall do that at Florida a couple weeks ago? The one-handed something or other down there. All right, so in honor of our friends that had just happened to be techies, maybe it is their fault, but I won't hold it against them. We'll just go with a little. Does that work? Is that good? Because I got the toys. I like to use them. Bowling Green. Y'all, Bowling Green is like bad. Think back to Urban Meyer, right? You remember him at like maybe Utah. You definitely remember him at Florida. Before he was at Utah, he was at Bowling Green. Think about how long ago that was. That's about the last time Bowling Green had a football field, had a team on the field that was competitive. So that's Bowling Green right now. Listen, the BG, they got some cool colors, kind of brown mixed in their uniform. I dig it. Notice my brown shirt. I'm a fan of the color, but not a good football product right there. Not a good football product. See, now, Herb here, he's getting ahead of us, Joe. He's giving you the hard time tonight. He's like, there's 1,000% chance that Joe picks A&M to beat Bama. But that pick I can understand. A&M should be favored. We'll see. Don't get out in front of the cart here, Herb. I appreciate you being with us.
Herb, you got to send me a mailing address, brother. I'll send you some swag because you were 1,000% correct.
He's letting that one out of the bag. Just letting that go. All
Absolutely.
Right. All right. That's fine. All right. Let's see here. While I'm getting this set up, Joe, do you want to go ahead and tell us about your sponsor there so we can cover that base while I'm getting us set up?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate my friends at Eyeballs Marketing and Media. You see their logo down here in the corner of the screen. If you can put a logo on it, those guys can do it. No doubt about it. You see this cool banner that I have behind me here. And I mean, really, they put their name on anything. It's they're great people to work with. They would do business all over the country and beyond. They're just outstanding, and they're right here in the heart of Warner Robins. Just good friends of mine, and I love to put their name out there anytime I can. Check it out. You can find their web address at eyeballs.com. It's IBALZ, just like you see there. Or you can find them at WRBJradio.com.
Just that simple. And guess what? I've got a little treat, a little goodie for the listeners as well. If you go to the description of this video, look right there at the top, right underneath where I put my bit about what the show's going to be. You're going to find a link to one of my new affiliates, Skull Shaver. Men, listen to me. You see Joe, he's got the shiny dome. You see this one? I don't go full shine. I keep it short, though. I keep it neat. There is not an easier way to take care of any of this for any style that you want than Skull Shaver. You can do it one-handed. I don't even have to ask my wife to shave my head anymore. I could do it myself. She's gotten back 20 minutes of her life every week. And Joe, he goes fully shined. So if you do that, they've got that for you too. So you can get clippers, you can get shavers, wonderful products. I tell you, I can't recommend them highly enough. Look in the description below. Use the code BEAST to get your discount. Check them out. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. And with that, let's jump on into these football picks. Joe, what do you say?
All right.
Let's make it happen, Captain. All right, here we go. So, as we scroll down the list here, we'll just take them as they come. LSU and Missouri. Now, when I look at this game, the story coming out of last week, Joe, was that LSU, like, their defense was about as strong as a wet paper bag. Like, they stopped nobody last week. And frankly, a whole lot of laughter. They got a lot of run with people laughing at them this week because they couldn't believe that that's what they were seeing from LSU. Like, the worst defense in, like, I don't know, 20 years, something like that's what I was hearing being thrown around. Now, it's never as bad as it is, and it's never quite as good as it is when you see it the first time, when you go back and watch it again. With all that said, though, on the other side, you've got Missouri, those undefeated Missouri Tigers, and the man, Brady Cook. Did you know that Brady Cook has the longest streak in America without an interception? It's somewhere over like 450 plus. So Brady's taking care of the ball. Missouri is scoring points on offense. They're at home. It's 11 a.m. local kick. Now, for my money, that is advantage Missouri. So, Joe, I've put it on the platter for you. Tell me what you think, man. Who you like? Who you got? What are your thoughts?
Oh, it's terrible. Oh, it's terrible in every degree. Herb says take the over. I agree with you, Herb. But geez, man, oh man. Let me see. Let me get my trusty Joe coin here.
That's right, Joe coin. Flip it up.
Let's see. Oh, that's hard right there because y'all know what I think of Mizzou.
That's right. If you've been around, you know. If you've been around, you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna take Mizzou because that's what the coin says.
Okay, so you're not coming around. Yeah. You're not coming around. And let's make that clear. No. Joe is not on the Missouri bandwagon. Okay. Okay.
But the coin said Mizzou, so that's the way I got to go.
You're just taking on like the villain, like Two-Face. You're just taking on that approach. 50-50. Let's give it a shot.
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fine. Somebody's got to be the villain on this show. Yeah, that's fine. All right. So when I look at LSU and Missouri, I kind of laid it out for you. I think it's advantage for Missouri that it's 11 a.m. kick. LSU got run all over the field last week. I don't know quite where their head is, And I've said from the very beginning of the season that I thought that Missouri defense was pretty salty. And now when I look and see that Brady Cook and the offense is kind of working a little bit, they're figuring out how to score the football, I'm really not going to hesitate. I think, I don't even know. I mean, if we look at the spread, it's what? 4? LSU's they're actually the favorite.
Wow.
So, again, we don't pick against the spread, but I still think that it's advantage Missouri because of the kickoff. Now, who am I going to pick? Joe's on Missouri. LSU, golly, I can't believe they're going to be that bad 2 weeks in a row. So, with that, I'm on LSU. Joe's on Missouri. I'm going to take LSU. Missouri, I've been riding with you, and if you beat me, good on you, because I just don't think LSU is going to be that bad 2 weeks in a row. I know that there are issues. Surely you guys have a little bit of pride. You're going to come out there and do something a little bit better. So I am on LSU. Joe's on Missouri. And now we're moving on down the line. So Western Michigan is rolling into Stark Vegas this week. I don't know that we need to spend a lot of time here, but Mississippi State, I just don't know. I don't know who they are. 1 week they look one way, and next week they look a different way. And I know Western Michigan's not great, but I'm still on Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State's going to win this game. I don't think the line's like 3 touchdowns. I know Western Michigan's not good. I would not think Mississippi State was going to cover that for anything in the world if I were a betting man. So I still think, though, we're picking straight up. I am on the Bulldogs. Joe, who you got?
Yeah, I'll take the Bullpups too. See if they can get a win over the whatever those Broncos are. I think, aren't they Broncos?
Yep. Yep. Western Michigan Broncos. That's right. Look at you, man. I would have had zero faith that you. Was that because you saw the logo? Is that how you figured it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, saw the logo.
I would have said, yeah, he Joe's studying up on some stuff. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, everybody, this is the one Herb's here for. He wants to see what's going on with Alabama and A&M. Now, Joe, even if you were lost in the whirlwind of life this last week, I know that you can pull together a few thoughts about Alabama going on the road against A&M. Do you want to go at it first, or do you want me to have at it?
Well, let's see here. What's the screen say there? Is this a night game or a day game?
Oh, this is a 3:30 kick. The line has dropped. The line has dropped to 1. Alabama -1. So it's a pick 'em.
That's what that is. That is absolutely. Can you see that? Absolutely crazy.
Now we have props on the show, everybody.
Yeah. What I do. I don't know. I mean, Alabama to me is still a team that is going to have to win with a cloud of dust, 4 yards at a time, and give it to the quarterback. Hope he breaks away and does something cool. Alabama? I think that's what they're going to be.
You're talking about Alabama.
I think Texas A&M is just going to be wide open, and everything that those guys can do to pull out an offense that's going to be confusion and wide open and high pressure, high passing, making the defense work hard. I think they're going to do that all game long, and I think Texas A&M is going to be right in this game to the very end. I hope they make the catch at the end of the game that matters. I think that's how close it's going to be, but I'm going to take absolutely, Herb. I'm going to take Texas A&M because I am
crazy. The boy's crazy. He's crazy.
I will take it.
And he didn't even drop his name this week, everybody. Didn't even go with it. So we know we're out there on the limb. So here's where I'm at on this one. Let's give it just at least an attempt at some analysis on why I think the way I think. So Alabama's going on the road. They haven't done very well on the road this year. And we thought they had sort of figured it out the last couple of weeks, right? They're running the ball with a quarterback like somebody on this show said they would have to do. They got used to playing a little bit better defense. They're keeping, they were starting to figure out who they were. And when I look at A&M, they had the injury at quarterback, but they kept it rolling. Max Johnson doing his thing out there. But they've been dinged up a little bit too. It's a road game. And again, Alabama hasn't looked good on the road. Here's where I was all day. I was thinking that in spite of all of those things, I was going to take Alabama because I thought they were figuring it out. And even though I'm not a betting man, though, there are some rumors out there that Jalen Milroe is having an issue with a hamstring.
Oh.
And if he's not in the game and they're on the road, I just think Texas A&M might outscore them. Now, more than that, Texas A&M leads the nation in tackles for loss. And even if Milroe plays, if they're able to get some tackles for loss and put that Alabama offense behind the chains and make them throw the ball in the intermediate windows to convert first downs time after time after time, I don't know that I trust Jalen Milroe to do that. I was going to pick A&M. Now I'm hearing this stuff about Milroe. I'm definitely going to pick Texas A&M. Texas A&M is going to beat Alabama. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. Texas A&M is going to beat Alabama on Saturday, and the hype machine is going to get cranked up for those Aggies. It's going to keep ramping right on up, and we're going to see if they can handle it moving forward. I feel like Alabama's walking into something here. They're ranked at 11. A&M's not ranked. Not that rankings matter, but it just feels like something's about to. The hammer's about to fall on Alabama. It's kind of how it feels from here. So we'll see. Now, here's a game that wants us to get fired up about it. Okay. And the reason I say that, we're talking about Vanderbilt and Florida. The reason I say that is because when you look at the sort of game that Florida had last week against Kentucky on the road, you were like, that team is horrible. And then you look at Vanderbilt and you go, that team is also really, really not good. And even though both teams have some players, you might be tempted to look at this game and go, can a scrappy Vandy group come in and upset the Gators at the Swamp? And man, that'd be a good story. And then you remember how bad the Gators are. And you're like, maybe this should be a pick 'em. I don't know. What is the spread? The Gators are still they're 18.5-point favorite in this game. Here's the thing. I told Clark Lee I'm never picking them again. I will not renege on that. If for no other reason than because the Gators are at home, I take Florida to win the game over Vanderbilt. Joe, what you got?
Well, look, we all know that this is a crazy season. We have said it all year long. Somebody said it here in the chat as well. It's Herb and Rod.
Yep.
I've told you that I am not a fan of Florida. I rode Florida early in the season. I took the two Florida teams because it was hot at the time. It's not hot anymore. It is now October.
Fame jumper.
Vanderbilt has looked terrible all season long.
Yeah.
So that is the perfect reason for me to do exactly what I'm about to do today.
Okay.
Because it is a crazy season.
Okay.
And Vanderbilt has been terrible.
Yep.
And I hate Florida.
Okay.
So with that, I'm going to give you this note and tell me, what does V stand for? It stands for 5. It just stands for 5. I'll be surprised if Vanderbilt scores 5 points. I will take Florida.
Oh, you're on the Gators too. All right. I like that. That was fun. It took us a minute to get there, but I appreciate it. That was fun. So here we go. Herb's chiming in. I'm going to throw this on the screen. He's like, Randy was my last hope. Thanks for depressing me. Time to get some whiskey. There we go. There we go. There we go. I'm not even going to lie. I had a nip a little bit earlier. We're technically on PTO, and the wife and I said cheers. So I'm with you, Herb. I had a nip just a little while ago. There's some old bluegrass or country song about that. I can't remember how it goes. Something like, I had a drink a minute ago. So I'm not going to sing at you, people. Don't worry. All right, moving down the strip. Kentucky, one of the 3 undefeated teams remaining in the SEC. Oh, the Bama people like to hear that. And the LSU people like to hear that. But it's Missouri and Kentucky, and them dogs are undefeated. Kentucky's rolling into Athens this week, Joe. 7 p.m. kick. Prime time ranked matchup. The Wildcats are coming in to face them dogs. Now, I said a lot about this on the podcast this week. And if you hadn't seen it, you can go to YouTube right now. As soon as we're done here, not right now, as soon as we're done, go check out the video uploaded today, the podcast. I'll tell you exactly what I think about this Georgia-Kentucky matchup heading into Saturday. But I am going to give you a little bit something because I like you people for being here on the live show. I'm going to give you a little treat, a little something special, a little extra something. I didn't talk about this point on the podcast, but ultimately, I think this game's going to come down to not the running games, which is all you heard about last week. Georgia can't stop the run all of a sudden, and Kentucky can run on anybody all of a sudden. I don't think that's what this is going to be. This game is going to come down to the quarterbacks. Devin Leary came in there as a transfer portal savior for Kentucky, hopefully going to take them to the next level. Obviously, Carson Beck took over for Stetson Bennett, and everybody's been questioning both of them. Now, again, on the podcast, I'll walk you through what Carson's doing. But Devin Leary, I'm not going to waste my time on that. I'm not a Kentucky dude. But needless to say, he hasn't exactly lived up to expectations. If Kentucky's going to beat Georgia, it's going to be because Devin Leary and those wide receivers beat Georgia. And if Georgia's going to beat Kentucky, it's going to be because Carson Beck is cooking, and he might have his third straight 300-yard passing game. That's how I see it going down. Notice I'm not giving my pick just yet, but I shared all that, and I'm going to let Joe go first because I'm a good host. Joe, who you like, man?
Well, I actually have been quite concerned about this ball game. I think that Kentucky is going to come to Athens, and they are going to bring they're going to run the friggin' ball, is what I'm trying to say. They're going to bring that offense, and they are going to run the friggin' ball. Okay. And I don't know. They may be able to throw it. They may not. But I really think that Kentucky is going to push Georgia. They're going to push them to the brink. And I think I actually sat here for the past 30 seconds while you were talking going, I'm going to pick Kentucky. I'm absolutely going to pick Kentucky.
Okay.
I'm going to pick Kentucky because I think Kentucky is going to push them that far. I really do. And I'm not going to be surprised if Kentucky gets out of Athens with a win. But for the sake of this conversation today, I absolutely am going to pick Kentucky.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That's a big one. I mean, we're talking about, a top 10 team in Georgia. They're ranked currently number 1. I don't care where you put them, but they're one of the best teams in the country. And you're on them Wildcats in Athens at night. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
surrounded by the millions
of Georgia Bulldog fans that are going to be drinking for 12 hours, getting lubed up and ready to go for this game. You think Leary is going to come in there and run that offense, keep them out of first down penalties and stuff like that, offsides, all that kind of stuff, and make it happen?
I think Stoops is going to come in there with a plan, and he's going to, you look at the past 2-3 years.
Okay.
Kentucky has been climbing. That program has been getting better and better. And nobody is going to think that at night in Athens against the number 1 team that Kentucky's going to come in there and stand a chance. And they've got the perfect setup to come in there and be like, gotcha. And I think that's what they're going to do.
Hey, that's how it could go. I will remind you, though, that 2 years ago, an undefeated and rip-roaring Kentucky Wildcats team rolled into Athens and walked out 31 to, I think it was 17 losers, Because at the end of the day, I think it comes down to, can Kentucky out Georgia, right? They want to be physical on the lines of scrimmage. They want to run the ball. I just think that when it comes right down to it, Georgia's actually going to contain that run. I mean, Davis is going to make some plays. I'm not saying that. That's a great back. That's the same back that rushed for nearly 1,400 yards last year at Vanderbilt behind the line that's playing for Vanderbilt right now, which is atrocious. And he still went for 1,400 last year. So Davis is a player. Now, I'm not saying they're going to shut him down. I don't see Davis. I don't see Kentucky getting to 130, 150 yards on the ground. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to 100. But at the end of the day, I just think the Jimmies and Joes are going to make the difference here, and I trust that Georgia didn't forget how to play the run game in a week. So I'm on Georgia. I think Georgia gets it done. Kentucky is a good program. Kentucky could very well end up being second in the East this year. I've been high on Kentucky all year, but I think Georgia is the better matchup here. And a lot of this is explained in more detail on the podcast. So again, if you haven't, check it out, because I tell you why I feel this way. I said I think it's going to come down to the quarterbacks. And when I look at the quarterback matchup, I get into why I like Beck right now and what he's doing. So if you want to know all of that, you can find it on the podcast. So Joe's on them Cats. I'm on the Dogs. You just never know how we're going to go on this show. So, Joe, you're holding true to form, buddy. You're staying right there. All right, here we go. One more inside the conference. We're in the period of bye weeks and such, so we don't have that many to pick from this week. Only 6 conference games. Arkansas and Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss was that team that, turned LSU's defense inside out last week and outscored LSU. Made them look so bad. Or maybe LSU made themselves look that bad, and Ole Miss was the beneficiary of that, right? So Ole Miss got the win last week. Arkansas did not. Arky is not happy. They are not happy with Pitt Boss. They are not happy with the defensive coordinator. They are not happy about a lot of things out there is it the Mineral State? I think it's the Mineral State. I think that's right. Mineral or Natural. One of the two. Either way, they're not happy. Not a whole lot of woo pig right now. The jukebox is not on for Sam Pittman. This week, given all of the struggles that Arkansas has had in the defensive secondary and in the run game, to be completely honest, I mean, you have to think that Ole Miss has the advantage here. But at the same time, I haven't seen Ole Miss stop anybody. Arkansas still has KJ Jefferson and Rocket Sanders. Who says we don't end up 54-52 or something crazy like that? Maybe it goes to overtime and we get into the 60s. Anything could go on right here. So with all that said, though, I mean, it feels like Arkansas absolutely has to win this game. I mean, they took LSU to the brink and it didn't work out for them. And then last week it wasn't good. Do I ride with the Razorbacks one more week against Ole Miss? I can't. I'm on Ole Miss. Ole Miss gets the win at home. Arkansas goes down again. Arkansas, anytime you decide you want to relieve Sam Pittman of his duties, the University of Georgia will welcome him with open arms as, an offensive assistant or a consultant or even as the offensive line coach again. We'll take him back in a heartbeat. So you want to let him go? That's fine. Come on home, Sam. It'll be awesome over here. But nevertheless, Ole Miss for me.
All right. Well, I told you before, I gave up on old Blue Pants. They didn't let me down, and I can't. It's kind of like we're flipping the coin here. You're going for Ole Miss. I'm going to go with the granny pick in the chat, and I'm going to take Arkansas.
Okay.
Because I gave up on Blue Pants. He let me down.
Okay. The power of the granny pick. That's what we're on now. I'm not going to tell you that's a bad plan. How's that ever a bad plan, right? I mean, you got to trust the granny pick. Come on, everybody. Y'all know what's up. You got to trust the granny pick. All right, so moving on. Now we're going to step outside the conference. We're done with the SEC. Joe's picking against my Dogs. I thought blood was thicker than whiskey, but maybe not. All right, that's fine. That's fine. That's why we're here. Okay, we have to do this one. Oklahoma and Texas in the Red River rivalry used to be shootout, like the world's largest outdoor cocktail party used to be the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. Still is. The Red River rivalry. Last year, this game was 49-0, Texas. Now, Oklahoma was a shell of their team by the time they got to this game last year. It went the way it went. But this is not last year. This Oklahoma team is much, much, much better offensively and defensively. And Texas, well, everybody knows about Texas, especially Herb. And so when you roll into this thing, I kind of want to be unsure about it. They're both going to be in the SEC next year. We're just going to grandfather them in this year. Joe, give me your pick on this soon-to-be SEC matchup.
Well, I haven't seen Oklahoma play this year at all. I haven't seen a hair of them on the field. I know they've played. I haven't called a game or a highlight. I have seen Texas play, and with that as my only source of reference, I'm going to go with Texas.
Joe's on the Longhorns. All right.
Thanks, Herb. Appreciate you, man.
Yep. See, Herb knows what's up. Let me get this one off the screen and get this one up here. Hey, man. Hey, it is what it is. I didn't play the game, man. I did pick it wrong, though. Remember, I told you I thought Alabama was going to win, so I took that one on the chin, too. So, but A.D. Mitchell, man. A.D. Mitchell. Wish he was still a Bulldog, but that's how it goes. All right, so Oklahoma and Texas. Here's the thing about Texas. I don't discount Texas. I think Texas is a really good football team. I think that Oklahoma, as I said, is much, much better. They're much more evenly balanced. And they got their pride hurt last year, 49-0. Because Texas is a top 5 team, because of what happened last year, and nobody's going to give Oklahoma a chance. Put me on the Sooners. What is that? Crimson and cream? Give it to me. That's what I want. Sooners. Sooners pull the upset. That's right. Sooners pull the upset, beat those Longhorns this week in the Red River rivalry. So there you are. That's how I feel about it. No? Not feeling it? No?
I don't know. I mean, I could see that. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
I wish. I mean, we're hopefully going to be traveling while this game is on, so I'm not going to get to watch it. It seems like I never get to watch this game. So if I have to listen to it on the radio while I'm traveling, then at least let it be a fun game to listen to. That's what I'll say about that. So Oklahoma and Texas, last year before they get into the SEC and the Red River rivalry, we're split again. We're definitely going to be making some. This pick'em, the season-long pick'em, is definitely going to move this week. There's some movement happening this week. We are not in alignment. All right, Maryland and Ohio State. Now, I figured since we only had 6 conference games, we'd pick one out of the Big 12, pick one out of the Big 10. We would kind of spread it around the country here a little bit. We're going to get out in the Mountain West here in a minute. Going to take a look at the Pac-12. But for now, before we get there, Maryland and Ohio State. Joe, do you know who plays quarterback for Maryland?
No.
Ha! His name is His first name just escaped me. His last name is Tungavailoa. He's Tua's little brother.
Oh.
I forget his first name. Forget the fact that he's Tua's little brother. He is a really good quarterback and should be, represented and respected in his own right. I understand he plays in the Big 10, but what he's done this season so far is really good. He's playing really well. And Maryland can score the football. The question is, can they actually stop somebody? Now, Ohio State, when you flip it over there, you're like, well, who have they played? Really, they only played the one game against a Notre Dame team. And how good is Notre Dame? I don't know. I mean, I'm still not sure about that. So, but it was a good win. It was on the road. So Ohio State is, you would think, the better team going into this thing. But Maryland has to go on the road, which is always challenging. I don't care, who that is. Talia, thank you, Herb. Thank you, Herb. I appreciate that. Talia Tungavailoa. There you go. Could not think of it. I had it, and then it jumped out of my brain. I appreciate that. So, yeah, Maryland's on the road. This could be a fun game to watch. Like, it legit could, because Ohio State is improved on defense. I think at the end of the day, Ohio State's going to get this win. Both because it's at Ohio State, because of just the overall talent on the teams, and simply because I do think that Ohio State has made enough improvements in their defense that they're probably going to be able to make life hard on Tulia Saturday. So it's not on the Terrapins. Put me on the Buckeyes. Ohio State wins this game.
Well, that makes good sense. It does. I mean, Ohio State should be the team that you pick at home. They should be the better team. There's nothing I like better than I've knocked off number 1 for this Saturday. I picked Texas to win, and I might as well knock off the number 4 team. I'm going to go with Maryland.
Oh, fear of the turtle. All right. You said before the season started, and Herb echoed it here in the chat, this is a crazy year. You called it, and I've heard other people around the country start to say that. Could this be that weekend where, like, the whole like top tier group just gets completely reshuffled. Like you get a bunch of losses that nobody really saw coming, and just throws the whole thing sideways. That would be just a crazy, crazy Saturday. And of course it would happen on the Saturday when I'm, traveling. So that's how that would go. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So Joe's on the Turtles. And I admit that's a bit of a safe pick on my part, but I did try to ration my way through it. I wanted to be rational about it, but it is a safe pick. Let's call a spade a spade. All right. So moving on, let's jump out to the Pac-12 real quick, as long as it's still there. Wazoo ranked in the top 15 on the road at UCLA. UCLA, they're a good football team. They run the ball well. They are at home. Now, where I screwed up when I picked against Wazoo before was they were at home on the Palouse. That's a cool place to watch a game. Like I think it is. It's cool to watch a game from up there if it's a decent game. And they have a little magic up there. I don't know what it is. They can get up and bite you. They're not on the Palouse this week. They're on the road at UCLA. This is the one that I think could be the upset. I think UCLA, they're a good team. And I think this is the one where Washington State's offense doesn't travel. I think UCLA wins this game in LA, and we have an upset there in the top 15. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Really? I feel this is like one of my most confident picks of the day. I'm going to pick Washington State.
Okay.
I feel like right. I feel solid with that one.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Last week we called last week Separation Saturday in the SEC. This is Separation Saturday on the SEC Powers Hour, because we are opposite here this week. We are not jumping on the same boats. That's for sure. Okay, so there's only one more hanging out here, so I got to scroll on down here for a minute till I get there. Anybody want to take a guess real quick? Who wants to take a guess? You see USC there at the bottom. Got a little Georgia Tech action. The Beavers are in there. We could pick that one. Notre Dame, no. Michigan, we're going to worry about blue, no. You're right, no, we're not. We're going to go to the Mountain West. We're going to take Fresno State on the road, a ranked Fresno State Bulldog team on the road, up to Laramie, taking on my Cowboys. Wyoming, WYO. Wyoming. Do you know where I'm going? I'm picking them Pokes. Let's go, Wyoming. Get the top 25 upset. It's going to be doggone physical. It's going to be a fight. The boys from Laramie get it done at altitude. My Cowboys get the win.
Yeah, and we might as well end on a peaceful note. I agree. I think Wyoming beats Fresno State. I do, and that's actually a game that I feel would be entertaining to watch for like 5 minutes.
Have you ever watched a game from Laramie?
Yeah. I turn over there, I'm like, cool, look at the unis, man. They're gaming. I watched them play in the snow one time.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But there's just nothing about Fresno State that makes me want to sit and watch all 4 quarters to this game. Sure, why not? Wyoming gets the win. Fresno State still got to,
Yeah, you're not watching it for Fresno State. You're not watching it for the Fighting Derek Carrs. That's not why you're watching. For the Fighting Devontae Adams. No, you're watching for those Cowboys, man. They got to ride for the brand up there at Laramie. That football field is so funny because they've got like the military ROTC group that comes out there at one end. So at one end, like the field house end, you got like these big old cannons, and every time they score, they're like boom, and they're shooting off the cannons. And then you spin it around, and the stadium's it's not huge, but it's surrounded by these beautiful pines. Man, I love everything about it, man. I love the color scheme. I love those Cowboys. I'm on the Pokes. That's where I'm at. So as we come around the bend here, we're looking on the backside of this thing. I don't know, man. I mean, we've got just a second. Do you want to, are there any of these, we're not going to pick them, but are there any of these other games that you see out here on the slate this week that sort of get you interested or maybe even excited? I mean, USC and Arizona. You've got Oregon State on the road at a bad Cal team. Georgia Tech and Miami that used to be a competitive game, like any of these out here that we've kind of glossed over, giving you any kind of like pulse. Like, do you care about any of them? I
actually think that Notre Dame and Louisville game is, Minnesota and Michigan. Those are 2 ball games right there that I don't think are going to be they're not going to be throwaway games. I think they're going to be
Really
interesting games to go out through to play through anyway. I think you're going to have to keep an eye on them all game long. I really do. I think Notre Dame's got a good shot of being upset there by Louisville because they're in Louisville. I think there could be a little bit of disarray on Notre Dame's sideline. I think Minnesota would just play tough with Michigan for the first half, maybe the first quarter or so. If they can get crazy there, Minnesota get a turnover or two, that game could get interesting. Michigan is always going to do Michigan things at some point, and that means that they're going to cough it up, can't find a quarterback, can't throw the ball. They just kind of turn into just craziness there for a period of time in the season. They always do. So I just wonder if that'll happen there in Minnesota. And I think it would be just turnover craziness. Minnesota gets 3 turnovers, gets a chance to get the win. But, I just think those games are going to be the ones that are interesting to me. Much like you like to watch Wyoming, I like to watch Minnesota on occasion. Those Golden Gophers are always, I don't know why, it's just always funny football when you watch them. So
that's nice. I'm digging that. I learned something tonight, y'all. I've known this dude 47, 44, 45 now. 45. Joe just had a birthday, y'all. Happy birthday to Joe. He just had a birthday this past week. He's 45 now. I've known him for 45 years. I didn't know he cared about the Golden Gophers. So you're rowing the boat up there in Minnesota. All right.
It's always fun to watch those guys a little bit. I don't know.
All right. Since you brought up Michigan, I want to make something happen today. The internet and social media is a stupid place. It is a stupid place. And people say stupid things. Somebody actually jumped onto my page today underneath a Brock Bowers piece of content. And it was a short video. And it was just showing Bowers do Bowers things, right? And out of nowhere, this person jumps in there and wants to leave the comment to me that J.J. McCarthy of Michigan fame is a better player than Brock Bowers. That Brock Bowers shouldn't be in the same conversation with J.J. McCarthy. I had to. I usually don't mess around with those folks who just jump in there trying to throw haymakers and stuff. But I just had to jump in there and I just had to let them know. I'm like, listen, friend, one of these 2 players is elite, and he wears number 19. The other one, no. So I kept it nice. I didn't say anything. I just pointed out a fact. I'm not saying JJ is not a good player. He is. He is absolutely Big Ten good. He can continue to improve and get better. But to say that he is on par with a 2-time, on his way to being 3-time All-American, a 2-time national champion, right? A 3-time, on his way to being a 3-time all-conference performer, and on his way to being a back-to-back Mackey Award winner is insanity. It is insanity. Get some help. It's like, what's that meme with Michael Jordan? Stop it. Get some help. So I usually let it go. That one was ridiculous. So can we just say that? That was ridiculous. And you mentioned Notre Dame and Louisville. That is a sneaky ranked matchup. I had to look again. Louisville's actually at 25. So you've got a ranked matchup there. That one, okay. Well, maybe we should have picked that one, but we didn't. But yeah, Notre Dame and Louisville, I could see that, might be interesting. And what about Rob and Ben? Have they said anything about this week's matchup with Miami? Because that game, again, I want that to be a game that's not, just a ticker game. You know what I mean? Like you just watch the score on the ticker. Like I want that to be a game that you might care about watching, but I can't make myself care.
Yeah. So just so everybody understands what Joe's preoccupation has been going into this week, not only did I have a birthday this week, I had, when all the suits, we call them the suits, come into town from your company where you do your real work.
Yeah,
I call them doors. The suits were in my office this week, so I've been, stuck in the office doing office things all first part of the week.
Yeah.
Went car shopping, bought a vehicle this week, and had all that stuff going on. Just absolutely busy doing the things that make you adult way too hard. on your 45th birthday. But I want you to know the reason why I picked Kentucky is I truly think this is going to be Georgia's biggest challenge in the East all season long. I think if there's any chance that Georgia goes and gets a blemish on the record, it's going to be against here Kentucky. And I don't know that Georgia can go back-to-back undefeated and national champion. I've said things like that before. I remember back when the Falcons went to the Super Bowl, and I bet my brother an Xbox, I believe it was, that the Atlanta Falcons would win. And I don't have an Xbox.
I think I'm still waiting on mine. I don't
know.
I
think you are.
My goodness. Look, the odds are absolutely against Georgia doing everything you said. Okay. Anybody can say they're not going to win the national title. They're not going to go undefeated. Okay. That's really going out on a limb. Nobody's done it in, whatever it is, almost 100 years. So you're not really taking a stab at anything too dangerous there. Of course, the odds are against it. But that's why you have to look at each game individually, check out the matchups, so on and so forth. Georgia's won 22 straight games. They've won more than that consecutively at home. And to beat the champ, you got to knock him out. If Kentucky rolls in there and gets it done, they're going to earn it. I said repeatedly on my podcast, if I haven't said it here tonight, I will say it here tonight. Kentucky can absolutely beat Georgia. I just don't think they will at the end of the day. I have been on Kentucky all year. I've already sort of made my apologies for just not going ahead and putting them at 2 instead of Tennessee. And that'll sort itself out later in the year. But I probably should have. I mean, I believe in Kentucky that much. This game is going to be a fun game to watch if you want to watch a slobber knocker, because these dudes are going to be fighting in this game.
And I'll tell you this, just for my boy Herb over here in the chat, I think the biggest play of the game is going to be whoever the an unnoticed little walk-on guy from the University of Kentucky that manages to sneak around the hedges and steal Brock Bowers' helmet and his backup helmet and his cleats and all of that stuff. And that way Brock Bowers is not allowed on the field late in the game to beat us. That's the guy. That's going to be the play that Stoops draws up to get the W, so we'll see how it goes. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a tall task, but if anybody's going to get to the champ, it's going to be Kentucky, I think. So we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, like I said, I think it's going to be a really good game, and I'm not even joking about that. So I think, I really do. I'm going to sound like Coach here. I got a lot of respect for Bob Stoops in Kentucky. Like, there's no doubt. I heard somebody saying this week, Herb, are you still here? Are you listening? I heard somebody say this week that when Nick Saban finally does decide to leave Alabama, for whatever reason, and obviously I mean when he decides to walk away, right, when he decides to retire, that the one person that they are going to make turn that job down is Mark Stoops. You have any thoughts on that? I hadn't heard that name. Everybody wants to talk about the flashy names right now, so they're talking about like Dan Lanning. Some folks are even talking about Dion, right? But we don't know when Saban's leaving. He's not leaving right now, right? So you have to project this out 5 years, maybe 10, or whatever it is. And I just think Stoops is already the most winning coach in the history of Kentucky football. The last time Alabama got a guy by the name of Bear Bryant, they brought him from Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. And that worked out pretty good for him. So I'm just saying I could see this is a possibility. I mean, because I'm sure that if they were going to make that move, they're just going to pay him, make him an offer he can't refuse, if you will. But he claims to love Kentucky, and he wants to be the face of that program. Like I said, he's already the winningest coach in Kentucky history. So he's kind of writing his own book up there. If he ever does win the East, especially given what Georgia is now, I mean, they're going to be building statues of him at Kentucky. So I don't know if he would leave for Alabama, but I hadn't heard it. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, that's he would fit their sort of feel, right? Keeps his nose clean, plays good hard brand of football, very physical, so on and so forth, So do you have any thoughts?
Since we're talking about Nick Saban and Bama, I saw an interesting stat today. I don't know if you saw this scroll across your what was the Twitter's feed.
I didn't.
As I did.
I did.
You know, they pay Saban $11.4 million a season, I believe, to coach those Crimson Tide. You know, the Sun Belt Conference total coaching staff makes $11.2 million.
The head coaches. We're talking head coach numbers.
All of them combined. Yes.
All the head
11.2.
We're talking about just yeah. That's crazy. But it's not. I mean, it's crazy when you put it together like that. But it's not crazy in that I can't believe it's happening. I can totally believe it's happening. But that I think, and I think I heard this, and if it's wrong, and I'm not trying to slander Saban, but I think he has an escalator deal in his contract. So like inside the conference, nobody is paid more than Nick Saban. So like Kirby's about to get a raise, or will, like that's going to happen here soon, like in the offseason or whatever. And he's probably going to move up into that neighborhood, probably somewhere around 11, you know, whatever. And for a day, they might give him the wink and nod just to make him the most highly paid coach in the conference. But I believe Saban has an escalator clause, so he has to make at least $1 more than whoever the highest paid coach is. If that's true, come on, Nick. If that's true, but I can't verify that. I don't know that, but I have heard it. So, but yeah, there was when was it Louisiana Monroe and Tommy Bowden went in to play Jimbo. I think Louisiana Monroe got $1.5 million to go play that game. And the number I heard come out of that week in the run up to the game was that this is insane. Texas A&M's assistants make more than the entire athletic budget at Louisiana Monroe. And it might have only been the coordinators. I just can't say that for certain. So the disparity between these programs, I know they're called Division I, but to think these programs are going to compete right at the level of some of these other schools it's a farce, man. You know, and so I understand. That's why I keep telling people, y'all need to just enjoy the season. Stop worrying about being perfect. Stop worrying about only winning a title. Enjoy the season. The season, Joe, this is week 6. The regular season's halfway, or week 7, I guess. I don't know, whatever the week, wherever we are right there, but it's Georgia's 6th game. They haven't had a bye. So this is week 6. The regular season's halfway over. And I promise you, I have heard as many, and it feels like more, fans complaining about everything that's not right, you know, and discounting win after win after win. And it just irks me, man. It just irks me because these are the same people that all off season, they're like, I can't wait until college football season gets here. I'm such a huge college football fan. And then when the season's here, they don't care that their team goes out and gets a win. And if they do get a win, if it's not by 100 billion points and they don't put on a sash that says, you know, beauty queen, then they're not happy. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, enjoy the game. It is not an easy game. It is hard. And people just, I don't know, man. They just don't appreciate it. And it just makes me sad as a football guy that people don't appreciate the game the way I do. But you know, whatever, they're just not as invested, I reckon. But it just irks me to no end, man. Because I'm going to have to hear these people all off season talk about college football, this and that and whatever. And if their team's winning, man, they're the loudest ones, you know. And if they're losing or not playing the way they want them to, that same team that they are lauding is just the worst things you can name. I mean, and they're just they're putting it out, like adding the players and adding the coaches and all this stuff. I mean, y'all don't deserve to be fans, in my opinion, but that's just me. This is just a Randy old man take, I guess. I don't know. It upsets me, man. Enjoy the games. Go because you like the games. Watch the games because they're fun. Appreciate a performance. All right. You got to shut me up. What do you want to end up on here, Joe? Let's wind this thing down, man. That's my soapbox for this week. Enjoy the games.
Yep. Just enjoy the games. Go get you some brats, get you some sauerkraut, and go get you a beanbag or something, and throw a beanbag at a wooden board. Mm-hmm. Get out of your Lexus or your Escalade or your Excursion and your tailgating, in your khakis and your button-down polos, and go, take off your damn shirt, put some body paint on, and see if you can hit somebody in the eye with some mustard and sauerkraut as you're throwing your beanbag over the, whoever on the other side. Good gracious.
Have some fun,
I'll leave it at that.
It's a fun game.
Sauerkraut, mustard, and beanbags, baby. That's where you leave it.
Yeah. And we got our weekly whiskey mention in too. We did good. We checked all the boxes. We are done. That's it, guys. Enjoy this weekend of college football. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your family and friends. And until we see you again, thanks for being here, and go Dogs.